Hey guys, it's Kevin here with an update for FFREND, although you may now notice it's called Warp. Now there's a reason for that, and I've had many complaints, i.e. one, Ryan, basically explaining, why has you changed the name? I liked Friend, etc, etc. Well, there's a very good reason. There's another software project that was around before mine called FFREND, which does involve FFmpeg, but is completely different. Go Google it if you're interested. And as such, I needed a new name, and Warp came to mind. A friend called Matthew actually gave me, well, didn't give me the idea, gave me the name, and basically because I do intend on developing this as if it was a professional product, I require the name to not be taken, shall we say. And Warp seemed pretty good. So basically, the new version introduces a lot of new features. It's the biggest update yet, I would say. As you can see, the UI is probably completely different to how you remember it. Now, the first biggest change is obviously the user interface, as you can see here. So the UI is now resizable. You can resize it however you like, which is a surprisingly useful feature, I shall say. So I'm just going to resize it back to its normal size, which is about that. So, the first thing that you need to do when you open Warp for the first time is create a preset. Now, a preset is basically a way of, well, constantly using the same settings over and over and over and over again. With Warp, however, the preset will allow you to, for example, we'll set one up here. We'll just set one up as an example. Now, I've got some test footage which I'm going to use for this video. So the first thing I'm going to set quality to low, compression to high, audio compression on. You can see there's also a load of new settings added around here along with the settings interface, which is kind of nice. So you can now set the bitrate of the audio. I'd recommend leaving it at around 64. Multi-rend. Now this is one of the biggest new features, which basically will allow you to, if you have lots of fraps footage, for example, if you've been recording on Minecraft for 2.5 hours, the only way this will work is if you have the 4 GB split limit on though. So if I open up fraps very quickly, just open up fraps. Here you go. In fraps, if you sorry, I was just checking something. If you enable the where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I can't see the option. I must be blind. Well, it's there somewhere. Basically, the option to split every 4 GB. So every 4 GB, a new file is recorded to. Well, if you've got like 50 of those, well, before with the old version of FFREND, you'd had to have gone in, import 5 parts, click render, import the next 5 parts, click render, import the next 5 parts, click render, etc., etc., and on and on and on and on. Whereas in the new version of Warp, what you can do is enable multi-rend, which will then allow you to. It's going to be hard to explain without showing you, but first off, it allows you to add an intro and a closer to every single video. So if I then go browse and select, I'm going to select that as an intro, and I'm going to select that as a closer. You'll see why in a moment. This is just test footage I had recorded. You can also set up auto importing, but I won't set that up for the moment. Now, I'm going to set that to 2. Remember that. This is hard to demonstrate without showing you. So I'm just going to save it to the desktop for the time being. Then I'm going to save the preset. You have to give it a name, so I'm going to call this Portal to Let's Play. And then I'm going to go back. Now we're back to the main interface. Now, what I was saying earlier, so we can click the add button in the top right hand corner, but I also believe you can press. Well, I very stupidly stopped the recording then. Oh well, we're back, and I actually used Warp to rejoin these videos, believe it or not, so there's one use. If you're an idiot like me, Warp can do that. But anyway, as I was just about to demonstrate, you can go ahead and add some videos, so I'm just going to go ahead and go to. I'm going to take this off screen now because there's stuff here I don't want people seeing. There we go, so now we're back where we want to be. As you can see here, I'm going to select all these. Oh, not like that, not like that. I'm now going to delete that. I'm an idiot. I have to go off screen again. Recordings, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all these middle videos, because what I basically did here is I went into Portal 2 and I just went, this is an introduction, this is part 1, this is part 2, this is part 3, this is part 4, this is part 5, this is a closer. Just as a test, so I've selected part 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 there, as if you had recorded a load of fraps footage. See, it's all imported in. The new interface allows you to see the video size when it was created along with the file path, which may be useful. I'm then going to select the preset we made earlier. Oh, sorry, you need to select the preset first. So once again, I'm going to have to go here. As I said, this is nearly alpha. There are going to be some UI enhancements later on. This is a very early alpha build of Warp, so please, these UI niggles, yeah, they're going to happen. So same things before, you can see everything's there. I've created and selected a preset, so I can then click the render button, which is the little green plus bit, or the little green arrow over there. Now as you can see here, what it's done is it's created 3 parts. Now again, this is an early alpha, so please excuse the slightly odd UI. But basically what it's done is it's created 3 parts. So you can see 3 parts, or Portal 2 Let's Play. Now what it's just done is, I don't know if you remember earlier, but when we went into the preset creator, we set that to 2. So what it's done is it said, okay, part 1 is going to have 2 videos. Part 1 and part 2. That's going to have part 3 and part 4. That's going to have part 5. So it's created 3 parts here. Each one of these will have the introduction, which we set here, and closing. So that will have introduction, part 1, part 2, closing. That will have introduction, part 3, part 4, closing. And that will have introduction, part 5, closing, if you get what I'm trying to get at there. So I'm just going to go back and minimize that since we don't need it. And then what we're going to do is down here there are some new options. You can make a sound every time a part finishes recording, make a sound when the render queue empties, or you can shut your computer down when the render queue empties. Now I'm not going to take that one because we're recording, funnily enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Start Render, and in a moment I'm just thinking, is this okay? Am I doing everything okay? Yep. So you can see it now says it's rendering. There we go, 1's finished. 2 are finished. 3 are finished, and there you go. It's now rendered 3 parts, which I'm now going to copy onto the screen. It automatically names them sensibly. So Portal 2 Let's Play, the time it was recorded, or the time it was rendered. Sorry. So that's 1 AM, 8 minutes in, 41 seconds in. Apologies for the odd time format. I might have to fix that. But anyway, you can see it's rendered 3 parts. So now if I play one of these, this is an introduction. This is part 1. This is part 2. This is a closer. You can see it just rendered introduction, part 1, part 2, closer. So if I then play part 2 of the rendered, this is an introduction. It's got the introduction again. This is part 3. Part 3. This is part 4. Part 4, and then the closer again. This is a closer. And the same for part 5. I'm not going to bore you with the third part, but you get the idea. That's what it does. So if we then just go back and reopen Warp, we'll just have a look at some of the other new features. What else is there that's new? As you can see, there's been a lot of changes, but what else is there? Auto importing will allow you to set a folder to always import from. So if I select a random folder off screen as usual, you know the drill, guys. I'm just going to go to a folder where I have some recordings. I think that has recordings in it. There you go, so I've set an auto import folder. I'm not going to enable multi-rend for this one, just for demonstration. I'm going to turn on compress audio. I'm going to set it to my desktop, same as before, and then I'm going to save the preset. And I'll call this one, I don't know, testing. There we go, and if we go back, if we then select that preset, which is called testing, it automatically imports all the videos in that folder. Now, why would that be useful? I hear you scream at the top of your lungs. Well, I don't, but you get the point. If you had recorded, for example, 3 hours of Minecraft and then you closed out, you may have a folder that Minecraft always goes to. For example, you know, you might record 3 hours of Minecraft and it might record to the Minecraft folder on your hard drive. So what you could do is open Warp. That preset survives every time you open it. So every time you open it, the presets will still be there. You can select Minecraft, for example, if it was called Minecraft, and then all the videos would automatically be imported with the settings that you'd selected. So then you could automatically turn them into parts with, you know, about 3 clicks, which is obviously will save a lot of people a lot of time, especially me. I'll put it that way. So there's that as well. The biggest feature is one that most people won't see, however. You can now put any format of video in here. It doesn't have to be Fraps videos. So for example, if you have an introduction that you've rendered into an MKV, for example, like I'm just going to add a random MKV. It's actually not going to let me, I don't think. because the UI is restricting it. That's a bug I'll have to fix. But trust me, in the version that you guys will be able to see, you'll be able to import any format of video. The only restriction being it has to be the same resolution. It can be a different frame rate, can be a different format, can be a different anything. It just has to be the same resolution. So, for example, you could have an intro which you made in Sony Vegas, Ryan, which would be then rendered into whatever format Sony Vegas renders into. You could then import it, and then it would automatically be used as your introduction or your closer. But the AVI restriction is no longer there. It now supports any format. Now that won't affect most people, but hey, if it was useful to you, you've got it. So again, go and get your free download. It's available at zanaya.co.uk, which is, again, if you're wondering what Zanaya is, it's the software house which this is going to be developed under. As I said, I'm treating this as if it was a professional project, and as such, for a lot of things, I needed a company name, and as such, I chose Zanaya. It means star, I believe, or something like that. I'm not particularly bothered about that, but zanaya.co.uk, you'll be able to get your free download of it there. Submit any feedback you have about this to backupa76@gmail.com, which is my email, backupa76@gmail.com, or in the comments below would be fantastic as well. So yeah, that is Warp. So if you have any comments or anything, leave them below. Any questions, I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And I hope this video was informative enough for you so you didn't tune out in the first 10 seconds. Anyway, see ya.